just another minute or two and we'll be getting started.
We're not. Are we live?
Oh, that was a perfect lead-in. Thanks so much, Naomi, for putting all that together. Uh,
Wow.
how's
Amazing.
everyone doing? Amazing, right? Welcome to
That was
Discover
amazing.
Captivate, a webinar series brought to you by NewBlue. And if you can't tell by that video, by our special guest here, today's session is a special one. We are joined by someone who's truly operating at the highest level of production, Don Souza, the man behind the live broadcast of what we were just looking at. Also the Arnold. He does the official strongman games, the biggest strongman competition on the planet. So in this session, Don is going to be walking us through how he approaches live production, how he integrates graphics seamlessly into the broadcast, and how tools like Captivate can help elevate that viewer experience while keeping workflows efficient. Don, it is so great to have you here.
Man, this is recording, right? Like I want to use that as my
Oh yeah,
LinkedIn,
this will.
like my
Oh, of
LinkedIn
course, wherever
intro.
you want. Yeah.
That was amazing.
Uh,
Thank you guys. Thank you guys so much.
Thank
This is
you.
awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, this is awesome. I couldn't agree more. So tell us a little bit more about yourself, how you got involved in these productions, and what these productions typically entail.
Real quick, 30 years of being a cameraman, and then COVID kind of came around. Things started kind of quieting down. We opened up a live stream company right in that period of time right there. We got into graphics. We got into sports. So it's strongman, powerlifting, anything kind of light sports, locally related, locally available to us. And then graphics kind of came into play. Obviously graphics come into play at some nature, lower thirds just for a
Of
name,
course.
then athletes, and then it was a Photoshop. What is it? Titler, whatever it is in vMix, the GT
Yep.
Titler, whatever it
GT
is.
title
That
designer.
was
Yep.
our go-to. It's just easy, quick. And then we had to take over the graphics for a show that we were producing that somebody else was doing the graphics on. And that was Strongman out of the UK called Giants Live. And they do a really big production out there. And they were using Captivate. And then so we had to learn Captivate to be able to start producing for this organization. And the first
Nice.
year we did it, we were fumbled around a little bit, but that second year we really embraced it. I started going into your templates and your themes and your library, and I started seeing little elements of stuff that I liked, and I would just go in there and I'd pull that piece out, reverse engineer it, put it onto something I liked, and then I realized I had kind of some weapons below me. I was like, wow, I can make stuff. Oh my god! So And then the guys that were running the show are very data driven. So they have Strength Tech is a data application that drives these massive events. So we partnered with them, and I said, "Hey, I want to put some data on the screen." They're like, "Whatever it is you need." So it was the perfect storm. We started this live stream company. I wanted to up our graphics. We got introduced to NewBlue and Captivate, and then we got a back end partner for the data. And then it was just up to being creative at that point, which we spent a whole year just heads down, just creating for official strongman games. And the trick to the data is for us was to not just blast data out because we have it. It was to tell the stories of the athletes. The sport that this is built for is strongman. It's pretty niche. There's 400 athletes coming from 40 countries around the world vying for 14 different titles. There's so much complexity in that. And so every one of those athletes are on different weight matrices, age, there's masters, there's so many things. So getting that data and being able to personalize athletes for the show was a monumental task.
Of course.
So we were able to start personalizing the show using Captivate, which is one of the features I love most, is just being able to personalize and get down to athletes at such a mass scale.
Yeah, of course. And you hinted at this a little bit earlier, but can you talk a little bit, you get this new software, you're using something else for graphics, somebody else says, hey, we're doing this, we need you to start using Captivate. Can you talk a little bit about what that learning process looked for you like? Because I mean, we're going to dive into these projects, and I think you guys are going to be, pretty blown away by what Don has done in Captivate. But can you talk a little bit about like what that learning curve looked like and how you got to a place where you felt comfortable creating such fantastic graphics?
I was a bit stressed out about other elements of us taking on this large project. Not stressed out,
Yeah.
but preoccupied with. And I'm going to be honest on how this all actually worked out. Nancy, my wife, stepped up, and she actually had to learn the transition from them to ADL, the Giants live production over to ADL. So it was actually my wife that stepped up and actually learned it. And this is not her jam. I just really want to say she reads lawyer and legal stuff and documents like I can't believe. Creative and this kind of stuff is not her world. The fact that it was so smooth for her to be able to pick up and
Yeah.
understand the interface and what had to be done, what you could see behind the scenes and what was going out. She just needed to know, okay, if I punch this, I can prep it, get it ready, and this is how it goes out. She just needed to understand. They pretty much had it all built out. So we got through that first year with Nancy going in. After that year, Nancy sort of taught me how to go in and deal with the software. I'm a long time Photoshop guy. I'm a long
Yep.
time After Effects. She started telling me how this thing worked, and instantly I just saw layers. Everything's layer based, and
Yep.
wow. So my learning curve on the creative side was super smooth because I could go in there and I could build things, and everything was in layers and After Effects. And I had timelines, and so I understood that aspect right away. And you guys supply so much content to reverse engineer, so I really didn't have to, I didn't have to recreate the wheel in any way, shape, or form. So my learning curve was short.
I
It
mean,
was
that's something
quick.
we talked about a bunch, right? Like, was you might go into the library and find a graphic that you really only needed 10% of it, but you were like, this is the exact 10% that I need.
And
Yeah.
I'm taking pieces like how you shade things and grain and how you move things in and out. I'm even taking from things like that. I'm like, oh,
Yep.
how many frames did they cut in to get that effect? Like, it's
Exactly.
already there. It's already
A
so.
lot of
But
information in there for sure.
to be totally fair, the learning curve for both Nancy and I, somebody who's definitely not in this world and somebody who is in this world, it was really quick to adapt to, super quick to. And to this day, uh, I build everything that we're going to see and I create all that in there. But
Yep.
Nancy, if you look at that video that you showed, Nancy's actually the one who's driving all of it. She 100% runs Captivate. So as
That's
another
amazing.
layer, operating and running it with the data guy that was sitting right to her right, with the judges, with the entire venue. That's she runs all the graphics. So
Yep.
it's not a difficult learn. It is complex, but the way you've laid it out is super easy to understand.
Absolutely. And I may have preemptively shared my screen a little bit, but what we're looking at right now is Don's project from the last from 2025 OSG, the official Strongman Games. So I want to just share a couple of these graphics. Maybe Don, you can walk through a couple of the more interesting pieces that we're doing. Where I want to start right here is this scores overall. So we're hooked up to some JSON. We got a full screen leaderboard. I think we even saw this in that video that Naomi, put together and played at the beginning. Some of the things me and you talked about are that change graphic, right? The change column right here, where you can see how much they're moving up and down. Talk me through kind of what we're looking at and how this adapts throughout the day.
So typically, prior to us diving in and just being just nuts about it, the scores there's 5 events in a show, uh, and each event has its own scores, and then there's overall scores at the end. So typically, what would happen is, and a whole event would happen, so like a circus dumbbell or something press at the end, and then they would show you the leaderboard of who's in the lead, and then that was just kind of the rhythm. So
Yep.
we wanted to take that part a little further. So I wanted to not only show the overalls, but I wanted to show what took place just now and how it affected the overalls. I figured that was a huge part of the story. So
Absolutely.
here, if you see like number 4 there, Josh Spurgeon, on this event, he hit 4 stones for, I can't read what it was, 31 something seconds. Uh,
Yep.
he was 5th place in this event, and it dropped him 2 points on the overall leaderboard. So he's now at 39. So the stories
Exactly.
are in the middle, like, or Josh actually, yeah, Josh went down 2 points, right? Two
Yep.
spots, two whole spots. So the stories, and I'm not sure if you caught this, Naomi, while you were doing the editing of this, but the commentary was just grabbed onto this. So it's all about the show. We're all putting on a
Yep.
show here. And so if I can get the data to start telling stories, our commentary can make that show more interesting. So you'll hear them talking about that. Wow, that pushed them down 2 points. That brings so and so up 3 points. So I love Captivate because it allows me to tell stories with the data. It's not just putting data up for data's sake. It's telling the stories that make the show interesting. Other than that, it's just a
Absolutely.
really long competition. It has to have more elements to it.
And then this is all being pulled in via, we can see this JSON feed right here, which has a ton of information in it. You're just mapping it to this graphic. And once it's all mapped, you have, I think you said Nancy sitting next to the person who's running the data, but this is all happening automatically, right? I mean, they're updating the data and then the Captivate graphic is reflecting that.
So there's on the field at any given time, there's up to 4 people with iPads that are pushing live data in. So everything that happens for us is immediate, complete real time. And that's Strength Tech, the guys behind all of this. I just want to point out a couple things here, just real quick.
Yeah,
Just
please.
shout out Strength Tech and data. I can have all the visions I want, but I still have to make it fit a certain visual narrative. So if you look, the amount of information that I'm giving you right here is really unheard of. And Lynn behind the scenes and Kian that just, I said there's 4 stones that got lifted. It was in 19.79 seconds. He was first placed in that event, and that gave him 10 points, which moved him up 1 spot, right? The amount of data that's going across on that one line right there. So I have to ask Strength Tech, because I have always data limitations, there always should be some sort of cap. I can't have that be 4 pieces of information, like the stone
Right.
part, the time, the first, the points, and then the other bracket. I actually asked them to create that all in one line for me, exactly as is. So partnering with your data guys is huge when building custom graphics like this, because not only are you going to display something they can give you, but what they give you should be perfect for what you're going to display. we had the up and down arrows at one point. And it was really cool, but the little number right next to it told the story of what happened, how many jumps up or down, right? So there's a lot of data calls on here, but it could be a lot more if we
Oh
weren't
yeah.
working so closely with our data partner.
Absolutely. And you can see how this is all linked up right here, right? I mean, they're, overall points combined. And then over here, we have the individual event scores, athlete name, country. There are so many data points in here that you've got linked. But when you are able to create that custom data, which is absolutely a fantastic, amazing luxury that you guys have, to be able to really get nitty gritty and say, this is the data I want to see. And then you're just able to map that so easily and get it into Captivate. And that is so fantastic to see. Let's keep moving through a couple of your graphics. I mean, you've talked about this a lot, but like, what would you and in how Captivate is able to help tell the story, make the data look interesting. How does that take the actual production itself to the next level? Whether that's through maybe sponsor integrations or through just a better visual representation of the data.
Well, I'll give you a fun one. We can jump over to Heat
Yeah,
Winner.
let's do it.
There's a fun example of what we're talking about. So
Oh yeah.
I watch a lot of NFL. I don't know how many people here watch NFL. I watch a lot of NFL.
Lots of.
Touchdown, boom! Right after the guy scores a touchdown, comes up. There's usually some data behind it. Souza, 5 yard run, touchdown. Quick
Mm-hmm.
little thing that goes off. It's up for I've timed them a few times. Up for about 45 seconds, 30 seconds, something like that. Top, pretty short. I just got a
Yeah.
tractor for that. We have, let's just say, 4 athletes up at a time competing, or 2 or 3 lanes. It's always a series of numbers of lanes head to head, and it's timed. So at 60 seconds, by the time that 60 seconds happens, we already know who the heat winner for that heat was right there. By the time that the last person enters the score, we usually know prior to
Yep.
it's either all the way to the end where they squeezed out 10 reps, they got all the way to the end, or if it was timed and somebody got the fastest time, we know immediately as soon as the whistle blows, we know who it is. So I took the fact that we know that piece of information and I said, I'm going back to Captivate this evening. I want to make my own touchdown graphic. I'm going to call it a heat winner.
Exactly.
We know that soon as the whistle blows, Nancy fires this heat winner graphic that auto populates because of our data guys at Strength Tech. Soon as that last thing's entered, we have a line of JSON that says, give me the results, the heat winner of these results, with what he did, his accomplishment to win. So underneath heat winner, what you're not seeing, which in the video you'll see, but here you're not seeing, is it like 6 stones, 34 seconds or whatever. You'll see the accomplishment underneath that. But that was something fun that Cerberus came in as a big sponsor this year. And our goal was to sprinkle in as many sponsor type layers that are sort of subliminal in what we're doing. So it was just
Yeah.
the Cerberus heat winner, the Cerberus heat winner. We layered in little things like that throughout the show. Some of our scoreboards have it's the Cerberus scoreboard or things like that. But this is one
Yeah.
we completely made up. Has got the NFL fingerprints all over it. So give
Yeah.
them kudos. But we just completely made it up. And right above my name right there, Don Souza, there's actually in the video you saw where he's pointing up
Yeah.
when we first took all the video, I mean, all the stills for Media Day. What was cool is we told them that this is going to be on this new thing that we were doing called Heat Winner. And so we had them animate a little bit. So that guy happened to do that. And he was the Heat Winner. And he was pointing at
Perfect.
himself doing it during the replay because we started popping these over the replay. So it was
Nice.
amazing. And the sponsor loved it. Everybody loved it. So that was just a fun example of us
And such a good
integrating
way to be able to
sponsor.
incorporate your yeah, sorry, but such a good way to be able to incorporate your sponsor in such a dynamic and exciting graphic, right? It really is. And I love so much that you are looking to other sports for inspiration. I think that is such a great way to be able to find new elements, to find new things. Again, maybe it doesn't exist in the Captivate library yet, but maybe you see it in a football. This reminds me so much of the touchdown graphic, right? It wipes
Yep.
across the screen. It shows the player name with the
Yeah,
touchdown. It's perfect.
that's awesome.
Uh,
That's awesome.
yeah, absolutely. And another thing I want to highlight really quick is these. athletes up in the athlete's bio, right? Because I love how you're kind of using these together. We're playing them both at the same time, but we don't even really know there's a graphic under there until we play it off, right? So you're using the layering of the project panel to kind of hide the graphics and play them on and off. Can you talk to me a little bit about, I guess, how you were using this? I know Nancy was the one operating it, but can you just talk to me a little bit about these graphics?
So again, I build all of this. So and I layer it and I put everything in there so it's much smoother for her to see what I'm thinking about. One of them was the challenge of prior to ADL taking on official strongman games, there was no information about the athletes. What you got was when the athletes came up, you got their name. And then the commentary, if they happen to know who that was, they would talk about them. And that was it. That was 400
That was
athletes. You can
it.
imagine over three
Wow.
days of a live stream, you're not really engaged. You know, it's challenging. So when we took over, I wanted to put up a bio. Like, so we have, if you
Yep.
look at, if you go down to like say four, go to four bios, four up bio or something. Yeah. So as you see, there's only two athletes triggered right now because it was this is all day three's information. There's only two athletes on
Yep.
day three or head to heads. But you see, putting up four bios for athletes for information for you to get engaged with four full pages or something, or even half, it's just too much. So I came up with these little mini bio things. And again, I'm working with my data guy. So I say, hey, I need the height and I need it spelled out exactly the way I need it to be spelled out, every little deal.
Yep.
And then I can pull those in. And then I want to go away when the athlete's going to compete. So what you'll see here, if you go, yeah, just if you pull that layer down, boom, it just automatically goes down to, and that's usually when the whistle blows right there. So you're seeing the athlete as they're coming out of the hole, which you've seen in the examples in the video in that little teaser. You
Yep.
see the graphics, they're coming out of the hole, they're walking over to the implement, they're getting ready to do the implement. The judge says, Red, oh, there you go, right there. So this is as they're coming out. Now this gives commentary a storyline to sit there and talk about. Um,
Exactly.
and then it drops down to that right there as they're competing. Correct. So
It's so good. Yeah.
we wanted to get the competition thing in because that's what we're doing. It's competition,
Yep.
but we wanted to tell the story and get you attached to the athlete. I'm trying to get you to know, introduce you to 400 athletes, and for you to
Yeah, it's a
care about some of
challenge.
them. Trying to care about some of them. So I insist. If you go back to the bio thing, I insist on flags because people
Yep.
identify with flags, right? Around the world. Again, there's 40 countries represented. So it's important that the flags are there, you know. So and
It's so good.
those photos are all taken uh, the morning before the show. The morning before the show that this goes live, all those photos are taken. They're taken with an iPad that automatically strips the background out and inserts them into this graphic. It's all automated.
It's so amazing. That's such a great workflow and something we've talked about a lot here too. I mean, to be able, yeah, to strip out the background automatically, have it sent to a folder where you know where it is, and then I imagine the JSON is just knows where that file lives and can make it accessible to you. Is that right?
Yeah, when they're completely in a different room and we're doing say stage checks or we're doing video run throughs,
Yeah,
I can see them popping up as they're being taken in
so
another
good.
room on those mornings that we're I'll have something like this and all of a sudden I'll see the athlete's photo pop up. It's happening in real time.
I mean, what you're describing sounds like a pretty well-oiled machine, but what's the biggest lesson you've learned doing as many shows as you've been doing?
Stay organized. Oh my God. Stay organized. Hard record everything. Just always hard record. Have backups
Okay.
on everything you do. Uh,
Yeah.
have a secondary Captivate running next to you somewhere on a hard drive or something. Anything weird
Yeah.
happens because it will happen. Goofy stuff happens on site. For us, and in all honesty, I'm 50% of the equation of what you're seeing right here. The other
Of
50%
course.
is the data, is the imagery that's being brought in. That's our partner, Lynn and Kian over at Strength Tech. Uh, we make some really cool things happen, and we introduce a lot of this magic to all these athletes. But you have to have a data partner. You have to have good, clean data, and you have to be able to
Yeah.
work with them to send you the JSONs you need. You know, to build and have those same visions you have. So partnering with somebody or getting your data straight is something I learned, because at the very beginning it was haphazard with different promoters. So the data would be super cool
Yeah.
sometimes, and then it would be horrible sometimes, and but dealing with a single promoter or however you can get your data straight is cool. Back up everything, run redundancy, and hard record everything you do.
Ah, that's such good advice. And yeah, I mean, data, I mean, for some people it's JSON, for some people it's just, maybe they have a student running a Google sheet, but it's the consistency to me that's the most important thing, right? Day in and day out, the data is going to be the same and it's going to work with your graphics. Uh, a couple other things I want to highlight. You use channels in an interesting way. One other thing I'd love if you could talk about actually is the integration. I know you use vMix as your primary switcher. I think you do replay with vMix as well. Use Captivate for your graphics. Can you talk a little bit about that integration and maybe how you've seen the two work together?
Can you pop up my desk right here? You probably can't do that, huh? In that video, you can see my desk.
Not
So
sure.
yeah, I'm putting you on the spot right there. It's horrible. Um, so I love NDI. I'm a big fan. I'm still challenged with it with a full video production for some odd reason.
Yep.
Still can't get through my head. I've watched good productions, but I'm still data is data. So it's challenging for me to see that. But for this, I love NDI. We can shoot this over networks. We can shoot this over anywhere we're at. Sometimes Nancy's sitting next to me. Sometimes she's not. Sometimes she has to be in a different location, just how it is.
Okay.
And we can bring graphics over back and forth. I love the quick, fast features with NDI because that's our workflow when it comes to these things.
That's awesome.
Getting our data. You know what? I'm going to put you on the spot real quick, Jacob. Real quick.
Do it.
So should I be moving into the space of replay with Captivate? I'm currently using vMix, but I'm not 100% sold on it. Talk to me.
It depends on your use case. Captivate does have a great instant replay where we can ingest as many cameras as you need. You can kind of set a buffer. My favorite thing about what Captivate's replay does is it automatically takes down any of your graphics. So if you are showing maybe like well, in this case, you'd probably want to put up the heat winner, right? But maybe you had the
Yeah,
BIOS up and you were going into a
yeah.
replay. Captivate's going to wipe those down automatically. And when you come back, it'll put them up.
Hmm.
So especially for something like basketball or football, where you have a scoreboard, right? And you want that you don't show the score. You watch a ton of football. When you're watching a replay, it's usually clean, right? It's not, there's no scoreboard on it. So having the integrated effect to be able to automatically pull down the graphics and then put them back on when the replay's over is a really good one. It just depends on your use case though, and where you want the replay to come from for sure.
I knew you were going to say that feature. Damn it. That's a really good
That's a
one
good
too.
one. It's one of my favorites.
We have to time that out.
Uh,
It's a lot of communication between us that we time that out. I knew you were
yeah,
going to say that.
absolutely. All right. One more thing I want to highlight. So I love you use channels in an interesting way. I think that they're primarily for organization, and I love that they're all a part of the same project, but you can kind of just bounce around and go where you need. I love this open countries graphic, right? This one, I mean, we can play all of them all at once because there's so many different graphics here. I just gotta
Oh yeah.
again, when you have different channels, you can click into them and that will show you which one is live, right? So we go to the opening ceremony one right here. We can get this off. We can put up maybe some of our bugs too, right?
Yep.
I mean, we've got
Yep.
a whole bunch of different things we can show right here. And then we've got our Google Sheet where we can just kind of start auto playing through all these and talk to me. I know this came from maybe one of our templates. You built a little bit about this, but talk to me about what we're seeing here, where this might play.
So opening ceremonies, limited use, right? It's only happening at the top of the show, and then it's over. So in my head, I love the channels. I love having multiple channels for my head of separating things. I don't need to see, but only certain times. So opening ceremony fits into that bill. Perfect things I'm only going to see at the top of the show, and then I don't need to see them anymore. Of course, all the bugs up and around. And then the opening ceremonies across the bottom, again, heavily branding. So you see the Cerberus
Oh yeah.
three-headed dogs over there all the time, as much as we can. You're not pulling in the same graphics as we have. So the
Okay.
graphics are a little different here. I just want to be fair. The graphics are actually
Yeah,
pretty hip on ours. But I should have given you the custom graphics from Cerberus. But
that's fine.
it says opening ceremonies. It lets you know while
Nice.
you're watching this that you're actually watching the opening ceremonies, not the actual show yet.
Yep.
And then again, we have 400 athletes from over 40 different countries. We're
Incredible.
showing all of that procession. Commentary is showing all of that. We're showing all of them that are walking out with their flags. They're waving their flags. They're in huge
Yep.
teams. They're by themselves. You see multiple countries together walking out together. So I wanted to show that a little bit. And again, it's all about, for me, it's about always trying to personalize and tell some form of a story anywhere I can, just a little bit. And so not only are we running the flags as they're just all kind of coming out in alphabetical order, but we're telling you how many athletes from every country that are going to be competing in the show you're about to watch. France has 9 athletes, there's runs of these that have one athlete, one athlete, one athlete. That one
Yeah.
athlete came all the way from Honduras just to compete in this show. That I'm rooting for the Honduran guy,
Of
right there,
course.
Greece. I want the guy from Greece when he came out here all by himself, right? So, anyways,
Yeah.
just make again, we're always trying to personalize Honduras. There he is.
There it
Uh,
is.
again, personalizing anywhere we can. This was just something kind of cool with that. And then also on the podiums, if you look at the podiums,
Yeah, I was just
uh,
about to go there. Perfect.
yeah, if you look at our podiums now, the same exact thing. We can do just the podium. We can do just the podium, or we can make it a little bit more personal, right? We can show that they're what flag, where they're from, their place, their numbers, how they ended off the show, and their photo and their image right there as they're on the podium. They're standing, they're holding their trophy. Then you're seeing this kind of cool. Again, every little detail. And I want to take it one step further. We do strongman, and this is a strongman show. It's a super niche sport. So the more
Yeah.
that we can do to put information about these athletes in this niche sport, it makes it easier for the masses, people maybe who have never watched this before, to grapple and understand with this. If you want to go back to our main show, if you want to kill all that and go to our main show, and if you hit bottom on this graphic over here. All right, so it's also important when I say that, again, we have 3 days. We got 14 different weight classes that are competing for 14 different world titles. You walk up, you turn the TV on, you have no clue what's going on prior to ADL. We came up with
Absolutely.
this entire bottom right here. Right now, you are watching the men's open. That's one of 14 classes. You know exactly where you're at right now. So and we're also at event 6. You actually know we're on day 3 right now because there's only 6 events. We must be on the last event of the last day right here.
Yeah.
The current leaderboard, again, you can tell the leaderboard because when somebody's up and running, you have no concept. Where is the? So we have a current leaderboard. Most importantly, is at the bottom. Again, if you look at the Sticks and Stones Natural Series, that's a branding. We always make opportunities for branding. That's the
Yeah.
name of the company who made the
Amazing.
stones that they're using in the event that you're watching. So I made
So
sure
good.
we included branding in the bottom. I'm telling the people this is the Sticks and Stones event right here and the weights of each one of those events. I want you to look at that data even closer again, one more time, is again working with your data partner. I need to get this guy's first name, last name, his accomplishment, and all that. So I tell my data guy, what does he come back to me? First initial, period, last name, boom,
Yep.
stones, boom, dash, exactly his accomplishment. If you look at all the things down below, I need them all to fit a certain box. So working
Yep.
with your data partner. But this, again, telling the story, letting the viewer know what they're seeing, what's on the screen right now, along with the athlete's name that are competing. But that's super important. Again, this is a super niche sport. Some people are doing sports everybody knows: football, hockey, soccer.
Of
These things
course.
don't, it's too much in personal information probably in a lot of these cases. But I'm trying to get you to meet and care for, at least follow one of these 400 athletes for some reason you clicked onto in your brain because of the data we're giving you, and the event that you're looking at. But that's another
All
example
right.
right there of information for the viewer. It's always about the viewer. It's a show. At the end of the day, it's a show.
That's so good. All right. I think we have done, I think you have highlighted this all so fantastically. I think everyone here at New Blue loves working with you, loves seeing your graphics. It is such a treat to have you on here. My last question that I'd have for you, though, we do these a lot for people maybe who are new to Captivate or people who just want to learn about Captivate. What's the number one piece of advice you would give to someone who's just setting out on day one learning Captivate?
Wow. Uh, Getting to know just a couple things. Uh, how and what you're doing interacting with your setting. Obviously, you need to be able to bring this NDI, so you got to make sure you hit the little thing NDI. So you're kind of setting yourself up for like a working environment because you're going to be here for a minute. So once you get
Yep.
your kind of your working environment and you get a grasp of, okay, this is going out, this is live, I can send this SDI, oh, this is how I'm going to organize all my files, this is where I'm going to be able to see my data. Once you kind of get the palette down, it's understanding your needs. Really, if you're doing something with, say, football, which is pretty common, if you're doing something with football and you're just looking to just differentiate yourself just a little bit, because everybody's doing football graphics, right? It's all the same:
Yeah, of
touchdown to
course.
touchdown, field goal, the clock, everything is pretty much baseline across everything. If you want to make it stand out a little bit, I would go and really understand your guys' library system. That library is packed full of, oh my God, this sets it apart a little bit. When you start getting into the say, just again, I'm using football as the narrative here. When you start
Yeah.
getting in football and you start looking at your clocks or how you're showing the athletes, or oh my God, you guys make it so easy. I just want to be real. It's really easy because you go in there and like, oh man, I don't like this color scheme. I don't like the way this box is, and I don't like anything. But I love the way it comes across the screen. You just go in there and say, you make those boxes smaller, bigger, however you need it, change those, swap out the colors, whatever you're going to do, resize the stuff, make it yours, drop your artwork in there. Yeah. If you're a newbie,
Beautiful.
set up your environment, get to know it, get comfortable. You're going to be here for a minute. Understand the data that's coming in, from wherever you're getting your data from, and look at ways to improve through that library. I That library's fingerprints over all of my graphics. There's some element of something in all, even if it's just to understand how you guys shaded something for how many frames, because that looks so cool the way the next thing led into that. However, I steal all of your, whoever's designing all this stuff, I steal their
To
fingerprints are
be
all over my work. I love it.
it's funny that you say that because to be completely honest, I feel like I have a pretty good understanding of what is in our library, and I look at all your graphics and I'm like, I couldn't even tell you what template that came from. Like you've still found a real amazing way to make them your own, even if you were starting from somewhere else. So it's a really cool thing that you gave it the time to learn it because the more you know, the more resources you have, the more time you spend with it, the better you'll get in there. Don, this has been such an absolute treat. I wish every webinar was just me talking to you. Uh, if there are any questions for Don, please put them in the chat. We'll leave it open for maybe a minute or two. Questions about his project, questions about Strongman, questions about Don, questions about NewBlue. If there's anything at all that you guys want answered today, please feel free to throw it in the chat. If not, we'll wrap it up. But we'll give it a minute or two if anybody has any questions.
While we're waiting for that, real quick,
Go for it.
can I ask a question? I have a question.
Yeah, go for it. Don't
All
put me
right,
on the
cool.
spot, but yeah.
All right, I have a question. Uh, what we're looking at is my older. This is from last year.
Yeah,
When I say last year, well, just a couple of months ago,
2025, yeah.
December, right? I haven't. We're getting in 20 days. We dive back into this next year season of graphics. What is? Can you explain to me this difference between the data set? I'm using this JSON, and it's one thing, but then you have a new thing that brings them all collective. I haven't seen it yet, but can you
Yeah,
tease
in
me a
our
little bit?
upcoming release, we have what's called the tables controller. So that's going to take the JSON controller, which you can see right here, right? So there's a lot of information in here, and then kind of like all of your different JSONs are all within here. So you have to scroll to maybe find yours. The new tables controller is going to make it so that you can have either individual or tabs. It's going to depend. I imagine it's going to be individual controllers, but it's going to be sortable, right? So you can say, I want to see my data in order of people who have the most stones in this match or the fastest time. It's going to be searchable too. So you can say, our heat winner was Austin Ham. And now I can just type in Ham and it's going to take me right there and let me play out Austin Ham just like that.
Wow.
There's a lot of fantastic stuff. I think you'll even, Captivate Broadcast will have an animated leaderboard. So we'll be able to do things with this graphic, right? Where if the data is changing while this is on screen, you will see Austin Ham's entire line move from seventh to second, right? So it'll be animated again. It will just continue to tell that story in more visual appealing ways. That's what the next release coming up has.
Wow. So go ahead, Naomi, go.
Yeah, go for
We
it, Naomi.
actually have a question from our live stream. Um,
Yeah.
Mayores online wants to know how you work on different channels specifically.
So how,
Uh,
yeah, talk through that, Tom.
there's a couple instances where we're working with the walls, the LED in the house. There's a couple instances where we're working with the house like the jumbotrons or whatever they have. Maybe it's in the
Yeah.
concourse. In the concourse, they may be running something different. So in the past, we've segregated out all those different types of use cases that are probably more used in the real production space. For us now, we've combined so much that the house works with us directly on our outs. The walls now work directly with us on our outs, and they're all using the same information. But if I wanted to do something different, I wanted timers to go out to the jumbotron while the athlete's up, but I need the action to be up on the jumbotron, and then I need the timers to be on the walls or something. Uh, we were using those in those cases. We can separate our data out. So Nancy would be firing the clock over here on the walls while I was working on something, you know. But we were
That's
using them in those cases.
fantastic.
Here
Yeah.
I'm using them just to separate things that, like the podiums, only happen at the very end of the show, and the opening ceremonies
Right.
that only happen at the very beginning of the show. So now during the show, I'm only seeing the show.
So yeah, you have two use cases for channels, right? One, if you're doing a different production versus what's going to be shown on the walls, and then two, this right here, what we're seeing now is just organization. I don't want to be put in a spot where I'm accidentally clicking a podium graphic during the
Correct.
game show during the opening ceremony.
Correct. And it's a lot. You can see I already have a full plate over here to the left over here. So adding all the opening
Right.
ceremonies after the podiums, now that make that thing scrolling, right? I don't want to scroll.
Yep. Awesome.
I hope that
Thanks for
answers your question.
monitoring YouTube, Naomi. Yeah, that absolutely answers the question. All right. Well, we got nothing else in the chat. So with that, I will wrap things up. Don, again, this was such a pleasure. Thank you so much for sharing your projects, walking us through. It was a real
So
treat to
much
have you
fun.
here. Folks, we'll be back in 2 Thursdays, and then NAB right following that. So we hope to see you out there. Thanks so much for joining us today. Don, again, thank you so much, and we'll catch
Hey,
you next time.
thank you
Good
guys
night.
so much. Thank you guys for everything. And just on a last note here,
Yeah,
you guys have supported our company from day one. I mean, unbelievable support. I couldn't have dreamt of a more perfect relationship with you guys. Anything that we've needed, you guys are immediate communication, and this is being so real. Like I was on a job in Florida, and my data wasn't working, and I can't remember who it was, but Florida time it was like 6 o'clock. We were live 6 o'clock in the evening, and you guys walked me through something. I'm not saying this is how you got. I don't know if this is how you guys are all the time, but you guys saved
we try
me
to
first
be.
a
Yeah.
few times. There was another time I called and it was on a weekend, which is most of our stuff is, and somebody responded back to me and I heard something and I said, "Oh, what was that?" And he was on his roof. We were like literally whoever it was who was helping. He was on his roof doing something. You guys are just unbelievable.
There's
You
a
guys
lot
are
of
just
people at our company who could have
unbelievable.
been on their
The
roof.
support that I've gotten from you all, and I've asked for. I needed something custom one time, and you got if you go back to that scoreboard is loaded. It actually exceeds the amount of calls you guys can do on your normal thing. And why would you ask for that insane amount of information, right? But I am asking for that because I'm always pushing the envelope. And Tudor stepped in. Oh my God, the owner of the company really stepped in and like opened up that ceiling so I could have a better graphic. I mean, it was unbelievable how you guys have treated us since day one. So me
It's very,
doing
very
this,
kind.
you guys, anything you need ever, ask of ADL. It's yours. We love you guys.
Thank
Right back
you.
at you, Don. Thank you so much.
And we have comments that you did an amazing and very inspiring job today. So
Couldn't agree
Oh,
congratulations.
more. Could not agree
thank you
more.
guys. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
All
Right
right.
back
You
at you.
too. Thank you, Don.
Bye.
Bye.